So what exactly happened with AMC stock today? What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Techwood Solutions. I'm sure a lot of you guys already saw this activity that just absolutely blew up during the aftermarket hours. For those that are not familiar, aftermarket hours means that after the market closes, there could be shifts of direction, right? The aftermarket hour session trades for about 4 hours, and this is where we were really able to take advantage of this opportunity. So first off, if you're new to the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, and if you feel like you learned something new, I hope you can consider dropping a thumbs up. But I wanted to share with you, you could see right away how much money I made on the day, just on the day, right? Not including overall, but on the day on AMC. So I wanted to share with you kind of my thought process behind it and what led to this successful trade, right? So first off, I traded this not just on my Webull account, but also on my Fidelity account. I wanted to share with you and not just talk about my profits, but I wanted to share with you where I sold. So I've been selling AMC stock as it broke above $38 a share. Now, a question you might ask is, Ricky, why would you sell at $38 a share, right? Well, it shot up to highs of $43.50. Why wouldn't you have sold there? Well, believe it or not, guys, I cannot predict the future, right? So what I tend to trade off of is based off of previous resistance levels. And normally, not always, but normally, right, it's understanding overbought and oversold levels where we tend to experience a resistance level and where we tend to experience a support level. This isn't for everyone. If you don't want to trade AMC, don't trade it. If you want to hold AMC, then hold it. For myself, I treat AMC as what it is to me. It's just another stock that experiences a lot of volatility, and I look at the oversold ranges and the overbought levels, right? So this allows me to understand where it tends to find a support level and where it tends to experience a resistance level. And normally, as we approach $40 a share, you can see that there's been multiple times. It tries to push up to 40 and it gets rejected. It tries to push up to highs of 38 and it gets rejected. It tries to push up to highs of 38 and then gets rejected. Sometimes it does break out and then it surpasses that, but then guess what happens? It just corrects itself back to that $30 to $35 support. So what did I begin to do when AMC began to pull on back to $35? I began to buy, and as it broke above the EMA line, I made that video 2 days ago talking about, hey, this is a step in the right direction. It doesn't mean that AMC stock has to blow up, but it means that it's at least moving and indicating signs of an uptrend. We broke above the 4-hour EMA. I talked about it. I kept you guys up to date. At that point, I had over $100,000, which is over 2,700 shares just on Webull, right? As it was indicating signs of an uptrend later today, I began to sell my position. And I wanted to show this to you guys. I wanted to show you that I am not a perfect trader by any means. I don't focus on trying to sell at the highest price every single time because, like I said, I can't predict the future. My job as a trader is to buy at cheap levels and to sell at overbought levels. And I determine those levels and I make sense of those levels based off of previous patterns. That's just simply the way that I trade. That's not the way that I'm telling you to trade. That's just the way that I trade. So as you can see, in the morning, as it began to approach $38, I sold 650 shares. It broke above $38.24. I sold 250 shares, right? It broke above $38.49. I sold 550 shares. Again, $38.49. You guys can see on the 1 day, 1 minute chart. I want you guys to be able to see what I was seeing. We kept experiencing that same resistance level at $38.50. So when you're asking the question, Ricky, why did you keep selling around that general area? It is because we kept experiencing that slight resistance level right around $38.50. So it made sense to me that, hey, I might want to lock in profits at $38.50. So I sold the 550, I sold 700, and then guess what? My alerts started to go crazy, right? Our Learn Plan Profit Discord chat started to go off. We broke above $38.70. We look into the aftermarket hours and it just shoots up, right? Hits highs of 42, corrects itself, validates the EMA line as a support. It continues to rally, overall hitting highs of 43.65. my ideal exit was I sold 1,500 shares at nearly $42. This was on the first run, right? It pulled on back. I bought a couple more shares, and then I sold at $42. So I didn't have a perfect exit, right? I was far from perfect. I'm not a perfect trader. But again, my job is not to be perfect. Your job is not to be perfect, right? Our job is to buy when it makes sense at cheap levels. I didn't buy at the perfect price point. When looking back on AMC, when it pulled on back, I didn't buy at the lowest price point. I didn't buy at $34. I think my average purchase price was $35.28, right? I didn't buy at the lowest price point, but I bought at a pretty decent price point. And as it began to indicate signs of an uptrend, I averaged up. And then as it began to become a little bit more on the overbought side, based off of my opinion, I began to lock in profits. I did what made sense to me. And one of the things that people might begin to say is, well, Ricky, what if this thing blows up? And if it breaks above, $48, if it breaks above $58, what if the squeeze happens? Well, first off, my intention is to trade it. I'm not here for the squeeze. If you're here for the squeeze, like I said, to each their own. But I still have 1,500 shares. So I had 2,700 shares on Webull. I had over 7,000 shares on Fidelity. But I did not hesitate to lock in profits. My job is not to hope and to pray that everyone agrees and continues to hold and that the short squeeze happens. I don't care about that. That's not my focus. That's not my intention. I'm not with you, nor am I against you, right? You're doing your own thing. I'm doing my own thing. We each have the same end goal, and that's to make money, right? I did mine my specific way where I buy at oversold levels and I sell at overbought levels, because normally it tends to get rejected. Not always, but normally. And then once it pulls back, and if others continue to hold, I can buy back the shares that I sold at $43 and I buy them back at $35, and I make money as it begins to recover. And then as it sells off, I buy more. As it begins to recover, I make money, I sell. As it sells off, I buy more. And again, we repeat this process. I trade AMC, others choose to hold it. There's no right or wrong. It's just whatever your intention is. And please make sure you stay true to that. There are people that will try to convince you to trade it. There are going to be people that try to convince you to hold it. You should never be convinced to do anything. You should do what makes sense to you. What is your intention? What are you comfortable doing? It shouldn't be my job to convince you to do something if it doesn't make sense to you. So I wanted to share with you why it is and how it is that I locked in profits today, showing you my entries, my exits, and what I'm still holding. So on Webull, I'm still holding 1,500 shares. And on Fidelity, I think I'm still holding 2,500 shares. So less than half of what I was trading with before, just in case it continues to uptrend, I can benefit from that. But guess what? If it pulls on back, yeah, it sucks because I still have an open position, but it's not the end of the world because I can buy back with the shares I sold at $40, right? The shares I sold at $42, and I can buy back at the lower levels. That is my job, to buy when it makes sense and to sell, not just because I don't want to make more money, but because I need to think about the worst case scenario, right? And it's the whole concept of managing and mitigating risk. It will make sense to some of you, and to those that it doesn't, then it doesn't have to. You can continue to hold and stick to your original plan. And I will do what I continue to do, and that's trade it, buying the lows, selling the highs. It's that simple, right? So you get to choose how you want to approach AMC and or ignore AMC. Who cares about AMC? Any of the other stocks. You might be asking the question, why is it that AMC broke out today, right? Well, it was due to the follow-up of Bed Bath & Beyond. So they had an amazing news report today that pretty much shared that they were going to work on a third-party marketplace, a potential partnership, if I'm not mistaken, with, let's go ahead and I think it was Kroger, right? Yeah, Kroger partnership. And just the whole short squeeze movement just jumped back into Bed Bath & Beyond. It was a very popular stock during the whole meme stock movement. It looks like it really helped during or hearing this positive news. Do I think that them creating their own third-party marketplace is really going to compete with something like Amazon or anything like that? No, of course not. But it's just, I guess, a step in the right direction. Any reaction in the stock market tends to be an overreaction. And if that makes sense to you, then I would really anticipate a potential pullback once the hype dies out, whenever that is, right? So just be aware of that. But because this thing blew up, we saw stocks like AMC absolutely just kill it today, right? So let's go ahead and look at AMC, right? Up over 6% after market hours is what it closed at, 4% during normal trading hours. And then we have something like GME that also killed it. It went up 3%, 3.5% during normal trading hours and 5.8% after market hours. So it was a good day for meme stocks. But one of the things that I want to remind you, and as I reminded our Learn Plan Profit group during this trading session during the aftermarket hours, is this is super exciting. It's great. You feel like you're on top of the world, but you need to make sure that you control your emotions. Don't get too excited. Make sure you stay effective. Make sure you stay calculated. And please do not get FOMO. The fear of missing out. One of the things that I love to remind our traders is that you have nothing but time. That shouldn't encourage you to not take advantage of any opportunity, but it should remind you that it's not a bad thing to be selective, right? Your time will come, and it's best to be prepared and to not be surprised. So you can make of that as you please. But I really do appreciate you guys' time. I wanted to fully just share why it is that I sold AMC. I would love to see AMC completely destroy and completely just skyrocket. But just in case it doesn't, I sold a couple shares just in case it pulls on back. I can buy more at a lower level and again continue to trade it. So I hope that it earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you guys haven't done so already. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.